Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to AJ 103 Criminal Evidence Online. My name is Tony Farrar, and I'm going to be your instructor for this semester. But before we get started on tonight's lecture, which is the course syllabus review, I'd like to provide you with just a little bit of information about myself. I have a little over 34 years of law enforcement experience, the last 5 years as the chief of police for the city of Rialto Police Department in San Bernardino County. On the education side, I have a master's degree in police science, a master's degree in business administration, and a third master's degree in criminology from the University of Cambridge Institute of Criminology in England, of all places. And maybe we'll have some time later on to talk about that adventure. It was a wonderful experience. With that said, I've worked in almost every assignment that there is within a police organization, with the exception of one. I never had the opportunity to work in the canine unit as a canine handler. But what does all this mean? It really means that with all of the information and experience I have a lot to offer to each of you should you decide to pursue a career in law enforcement, or any career for that matter. So feel free to meet with me, pick my brain, ask me questions, use me as a reference. Whatever I can do to make your endeavor in the realm of criminal justice, or again, some other career path, successful, that's what I am here for. So with that being said, let's jump into tonight's lecture, which is going to be the syllabus review. So follow along with me if you would. We're at the top of page 1. And this is AJ 103. It's criminal evidence. The section number is 3692. And of course, we are in the fall 2019 semester term, and this is the online edition of the criminal evidence course. Down below, my information follows. I also have my phone number and my email available to you. I am located on the Menifee campus. So again, here's my phone number and my email if you need to get in touch with me. I also have a Twitter account, which I am getting better at. So if that is your preferred method of communication with me, please just allow a little extra time for someone that's doing okay, but not 100% good on that. Down beneath there, I have a couple of links to some websites that I think you will find rather informative. The first is to the MSJC Criminal Justice Club. It's to their Facebook page. The Criminal Justice Club is a group of students that are interested in criminal justice or something under that umbrella. They meet either weekly or bi-weekly, and they basically learn a little bit more on the aspects of criminal justice. They do events, they do some fundraising, they go to different places that perhaps maybe a face-to-face or an online class is unable to do. It's basically a time to study and hang out with those that have similar interests. If you're interested in that, there's a link to the Facebook page and you can get a little bit more information. I also have a link to the Career Ed website, which is important because there you can find a little bit more information on career education, some links to some websites that will help you assess your online readiness, along with information on maybe internships or other valuable things that are out there. So I would highly suggest that you take a moment and you look at those websites as well. As far as office hours go, again, I'm on the Menifee campus. I'm in the 900 building on the second floor. The office number is 961. My face-to-face office hours are listed below, and online, I'm typically online monitoring courses on Wednesday and Thursday evenings between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. However, I am always available by email or appointment at any other time. And speaking of that, email is in fact the best way to get in contact with me. If you do want to get in contact with me or you email me, please do me a favor. Place AJ 103 3692 criminal evidence and your name in the subject line of the email. So I have an example that I did using my name, and you can see how that looks. And the reason for this is because of the fact I teach so many classes It's the best way to make sure that I know exactly who you are and what class you're in. Some of you I know by name because you've been in several of my courses, and that's a little bit easier. But some of you I may not have gotten to know yet, and I look forward to that. But until then, this will help me get the information to you a lot quicker than trying to spend a lot of time figuring out which one of my classes that you're actually in. So help me out, and that would be great. Also, all emails should come from your MSJC email account if possible. If you are requested to submit any type of written assignment in Canvas, which in this class you will be, please do me a favor, submit it in Microsoft Word. If you send it to me in another word processing format, like WordPad or WordPerfect or something like that, or even in or through a third-party vendor like Google Docs, there's no guarantee that I'm going to be able to open it and read it. And if I can't open it and read it, then I can't grade it. So as an attachment, and you'll see how that works when we get to the actual Canvas shell. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit more detail. But Microsoft Word is the best format in order to submit an assignment. If you don't know how to set up your email, please contact the College Help Desk, and they will be more than happy to assist you in making sure that you are up to speed and your email is functioning properly. Now, a little bit more about the syllabus. It is a living document, meaning that it is subject to change during the semester. I typically don't make changes, but sometimes I have to. You never know, so I just want you to know about that. If changes are made, you will be made aware of those changes immediately in the form of an email or an announcement via Canvas. Now, the importance of that is to make sure that whatever device is your primary device you use to communicate or to log on to the class with, whether it's your cell phone, a laptop, or an iPad, please make sure that you set that up to where you are able to receive either Canvas notifications by email or by text message. And that way you will be sure to get the information as expedient as possible. If you have any other questions about the class, please feel free to email me, or you can post them on the general discussion board. And at the end of this lecture, I will go into your Canvas shell and I will show you exactly where all of that information is at. All assignments and due dates are in the syllabus, and because of that, it is your responsibility to read and follow them. It is not my responsibility to remind you of tests, quizzes, or any term paper, since the information is contained within the syllabus. Now, with that being said, I'm going to send out reminders. As a matter of fact, I'll send out so many, you'll probably be annoyed with me. And that's just me doing my part to make sure that you are paying attention to certain due dates. But at the end of the day, please remember that it is in fact your responsibility to monitor those due dates on when all of your assignments are supposed to be turned in. So, a little bit about the course description, the course objectives, and the textbook. This course provides knowledge and also theory regarding criminal evidence as it relates to the criminal justice field. Now, that includes the use of evidence in criminal cases and the basic rules of evidence in federal and state court, because they're not identical. Two different court settings, so they might have some different rules. Things that might be allowed in state court may not be allowed in federal court, and vice versa. So that's kind of where we're going to go. What we really hope to have you retain the most and be able to do would be to examine the various types of evidence and the rules regarding testimony, meaning what really is evidence? How many different types are there? And how do we get those in front of the judge or in front of the jury, and are there rules? Also, evidence regarding testimony. Can anybody just walk into a courtroom and make a statement? Or is there more to it? Same with material objects. And we're going to look at the admissibility of different types of evidence. A question that I could just throw out right now, like a polygraph. If you know what a polygraph, that's where they hook you up to that scary machine and they ask you questions. Is that something that's admissible? You're going to learn that in this class. So we're going to learn the rules of admissibility. Next, to be able to analyze the adversarial process in the presentation of evidence and consider the roles of the prosecutor, defense counsel, judge, and jury. All these different people, what are their jobs? What does the prosecutor do? What's defense counsel do? What's the judge do? What's the jury do? And how much power does the judge and the jury really have? And knowing what the adversarial process really means. Court cases are adversarial. You have one side against the other. That's the adversarial process. And does that process, are there rules as far as presenting evidence? And there are, and you're going to learn those. And then last, we're going to take a look at the historical and the ethical development of the rules of evidence and evaluate their application in state and federal court. So we're going to go back in history and look at how different rules of evidence have changed because things have changed. And you're going to learn that. Next is your textbook. So here's your textbook that you're going to need for the class. And now I'm going to give you the 30-second pitch on why you should have the textbook. Typically, in a face-to-face class and even in an online course, the lectures are anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. Now, knowing that there's just so much information in each one of these chapters, it's very difficult for me to include all of the information from every chapter in a 45 to a 60-minute lecture. Now, yes, I'm going to post the PowerPoints, and yes, they're going to be awesome. And yes, I'm going to post key terms and definitions so you can study. But the mere fact that I can't post everything is going to lend itself to some mechanism or some way that you're going to have to fill in the gaps and to add more context to the subject matter. And the best way to do that would be to read the chapters in your textbook. So that's my 30-second pitch on the book. Now, the book is available at the San Jacinto and the Menifee bookstores, but I'm sure that most students that I know are way more astute than I on where to pick up a book. You can get a used one, a new one, an ebook. It really doesn't make a difference as long as you have it, because again, I think it's important that you do. But you know where to get these books a lot better than I do. So next is the California Penal Code. So this is an optional text. And to be honest with you, you really don't even need to get it because the Penal Code, it's not a primary textbook, but we are going to be referring to this particular book from time to time. And if you don't have a copy of it, that's okay, because you can access all the information online. And this will help you as we discuss several of the different codes. So for all related California codes, I put a link in here to leagueinfo.legislature.ca.gov, and this is a link to where you can pick up any of the California codes, or if you don't want to go through this code section, you can go to your favorite search engine, Bing, Google, whatever. You can type in California Penal Code and then put the number in of the code, and you'll get plenty of information back on that particular code. So if you don't have a copy of the Penal Code, that's okay. All right, now, while that was all super important and vital to your success in this class, so is the check-in. And this is really important, and I want you to pay particular attention to this because we've got a kind of a short week here. So we're on the top of page 3. So the college opens for fall classes, for regular fall classes on Monday, August 12th. Now, because this is an online class, I'm going to try to open it early. I'm going to try to open it on Wednesday, August 7th at 5 p.m. If I can't open it that early, because sometimes the college won't let us open classes that early, don't panic, because it's then going to open on Monday, August 12th at 8 a.m. So let me say that again. Regular classes for fall typically open on the 12th, Monday, August 12th. I'm going to try to open this online course earlier on Wednesday the 7th. If I can't, or you'll be able to figure it out if you can't get into the course by then, don't panic, because it'll open for sure on Monday the 12th at 8 o'clock. Now this is where the short week comes in. You then have from Monday the 12th at 8 a.m. until Tuesday the 13th at 11 p.m. to get yourself checked in. It's a little bit short time period, but I need to get everybody checked in because on Wednesday starts the next module. The way that the class is structured, it opens on Wednesday and it closes on the following Tuesday. So we're going to have our next following week opening on Wednesday. So I need everybody checked in by that Tuesday. It's plenty of time to do it. All it's going to consist of is basically, now we're down here, okay? It's going to be discussion board number 1. That's your check-in. That's your official check-in, and the syllabus quiz. So take the time to complete discussion board number 1, as this is going to be your official check-in for the class. If you failed to complete the check-in, it's going to result in you being dropped from the course. Also, as part of the check-in procedure, you're going to need to complete the short 10-question syllabus quiz on what we're doing right now. This is the syllabus review. So don't worry, don't panic. You're all going to get 100%, but it's a short 10-question syllabus quiz on what we're covering tonight. Note that the quiz and the discussion board, the check-in, they're both graded assignments, so you need to get these both done. Yes, I know it's a short time period, but it's plenty of time to get it done. It's really not that much work, but take the time to get it done. Okay, let's move on. I think I've covered that enough. So the course itself is somewhat of a fast-paced class with a lot of reading and information provided to you every week. You need to keep up with the readings, which is another reason for the textbook. Don't just rely on the PowerPoint lectures to get you through the class. Again, there's going to be key terms and articles and videos and stuff like that, but don't just rely on that. The textbook is important. Now, some of the legal terms may be at first a little difficult to understand because you don't know them yet. Therefore, you might need to read the textbook chapters carefully to fully understand them and to add context to the subject matter. In some cases, you might have to look up a word or a term on the internet, the penal code, or in a law dictionary. I've showed you how to do that. But if you have a problem with any concept at all, let me know, and I will discuss it in Canvas in the general discussion area. And I'll show you where that's at the end of this lecture. So this isn't a super easy class. It's going to require some work on your end. You need to do your part to do well. However, it's an awesome class, and it's going to be very rewarding from all of the knowledge and the information that you're going to gain. And the best way to do that is to follow some of these expectations that I've outlined for you. So here are 6 expectations that I expect of you. First, to read the material. Go through the PowerPoints, look at the lecture notes, look at the articles, read the textbook chapters. Number 2, view the weekly videos relating to each chapter. Now again, you'll see how I break the class up. It's in weekly modules. So a week is a module is a week. They're both interchangeable. Okay, and in those modules, you're going to have the PowerPoints, the lecture notes. You'll have everything inside there, so you're not going to have to click around all over the place. You'll find it all in one place. So you'll see PowerPoints, regular PowerPoints, but you'll also have the audio lecture part. So if you don't want to hear my voice, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you don't have to, but if you do, then you can listen or watch the audio version. And there's also case studies. So viewing the weekly information. Number 3, participating in thoughtful and timely discussions via the discussion board, and more to come on those. Number 4, completing the online and timed quizzes. 5, completing the online and timed exams. And 6, completing the midterm writing assignment. So those are the basic expectations of the course. Now, please note that we're right down here now. Failing to participate in the discussion boards, or missing quizzes or exams, or failing to turn in any other assignments, or missing a combination of these activities may cause you to be dropped from the class. Again, that's why it's important that you're able to self-regulate and know when your due dates are. Set time aside for your assignments so you can get them done without having to worry about that. Well, so how do you know if you're ready? For some of you, this may be your first online class. For others, it may not be. So to help you, I have a section called Online Readiness. And to help you kind of figure out or assess your readiness, I've given you a couple of links to some web pages to check out. The first link is to the MSJC online learning page, where it will help you assess or gauge your readiness as far as online learning goes. It also has some tutorials and things like that. The second link is to a page that also has related information, but it has some video tutorials and other information to again help you understand what is expected of an online student to gauge your readiness, but also maybe how to navigate through Canvas. There are some video tutorials on how to set up your email and how to set up announcements and how to move around through Canvas. So it's very important that maybe you take some time, especially if this is your first online class, and you take a look at this. So now let's move on to not just some functions of Canvas, and I'm going to show you some important ones to pay attention to, but also this area called technology responsibility. So you are responsible for your computer equipment and internet connection independent of the campus. So you will need to plan your coursework to be able to accommodate any computer-related issue or problem. Now, if the college website goes down and you can't access Canvas, I understand, and those are definitely grounds to relax the deadlines, move things around, and I will help you get through all that mess. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. On the other hand, if it's something on your end, you need to have a backup plan to make sure that you can get your assignments done. You need to have an alternate means of providing or completing the assignment as required. And one thing to remember, and I always tell everyone, is don't wait till the last minute. So what I mean by that is if everything is due on Tuesday night at 11 p.m., don't start your stuff at 10 o'clock p.m. because if you run into a computer issue and you email me and say, hey, my computer doesn't work, my response is, what did you do the last 5.5 days? That's why you need to set some time aside and have a backup plan to make sure that you're able to get your assignment completed. So the mere fact you have a problem isn't going to necessarily be grounds for relaxation of deadlines. Now, if you're unsure whether a transaction has gone through, it's going to be your responsibility to follow up on that. Check the grade book, monitor your grades, monitor your assignments, find an alternative means of providing or completing the assignment as required. Some of the main functions of Canvas that you need to be aware of, especially if you're new to Canvas, will be the areas that we're going to talk about right now. The first is modules. And this is where your weekly assignments are going to be located. And I'm going to title each module so you'll know exactly which week the information is for. So for example, Module 1 is going to be titled Week 1. Therefore, Week 1 will contain all the assignments that you need to complete Week 1. Now, Week 1 we know is going to be the check-in and the syllabus quiz. On the other modules during the weeks, it's going to contain probably more information. Actually, it's going to. It's going to contain the audio lectures, the PowerPoints, the links to videos, the articles, the exams, the quizzes, the key terms, anything else. It's going to be in those weekly modules, except for one thing, and that's the midterm essay. The midterm essay is going to open on the first day of class, and it'll close probably about the midway point through the semester, and that's in your syllabus as well, so you'll know exactly what day or date that's going to close or what week that's going to close in. So you have about pretty much 10 to 11 weeks or so to get it done. But anyway, that's in the syllabus, but it's got its own section. And the reason, again, that I put all of this information into these weekly folders, the goal here is for you to be able to find everything each week in these modules without having to go outside of the module and start clicking around searching for the assignments. Everything is going to be there. and I will show you what that looks like at the end of this particular lecture. Discussions, this is where the discussion boards are at. I will also have a discussion board for general questions there. So you'll have the 4 discussions. The first is the check-in. There'll be a general discussion board that you can throw a question up if you have a question. And as far as the discussion boards go, in those discussion boards, I may also post a link to a video or an article to help add context to the discussion. And we'll talk more a little bit later about the importance of the discussion boards. Announcements, this is where you're going to find all the announcements for class, including any relevant information on changes to exams, quizzes, or upcoming information that I need you to know. The gradebook, this is important because that's where your grades are. The gradebook function is located in the gradebook area, and this is where you can monitor your grades as they're posted. Now, one point of importance, if you don't see a grade in a certain area, first of all, check to see if you turned in the assignment or you completed the assignment. If you didn't, if it's a written assignment like an essay, sometimes it might take me a couple of days to grade it, so that could be the delay. Typically, on quizzes and chapter exams, things will get graded right away. Discussion boards and essay papers and things like that, sometimes it might take me a day to get them all graded. But if you see a blank in there, you should start asking yourself a question, why is there a blank there? Okay, but just make sure that you've turned everything in. Extra credit, this is the area where you can find your extra credit assignment. There is for sure going to be one in this class. There might be more, and I will let you know as those things come up, but for right now there is one. The extra credit assignment, the importance here is that it's date specific, which means it opens on a certain day and closes on a certain day, just like your modules do. So make sure you read the assignment and take note of when that assignment is open and when it closes. The way that we're going to learn all this stuff, we're right here at Instructional Methods. This includes both face-to-face and online, so it's going to be lecture and PowerPoint and exams and quizzes and writing assignments and computer research, review of current events and news articles, videos, group work, discussions, case studies, guest speakers, hands-on stuff, visual aids, and field trips on things that might be applicable to the course if there's time. I will always, however, keep you all advised of any guest speakers that are attending my on-campus classes, because you are invited and welcome to attend any of those. So if I have a homicide investigator coming out to talk about homicide in one of my face-to-face classes, I will send out an announcement to you in the online world, and you will be able to attend that face-to-face class if you desire to do so. So academic support. This is available to all students at the Learning Resource Center on campuses or through the help desk. You'll notice in your Canvas shell, we also have online counseling, so you can make appointments and receive help online as well. Please, again, check Canvas and your email at least twice a week for class announcements, any changes in the syllabus, links to articles, or any other type of information. Sometimes I might find something that I think is super interesting and I want to get it out to you, and I may want you to respond back on it. But if you don't check your email, you won't know that it's out there. So again, it is your responsibility to monitor Canvas for any assignment changes, updates, or any other relevant information. Next is the code of conduct, and you're probably wondering, well, why do you have a code of conduct? It's an online class. Well, it's for the online environment, typically the discussion boards. So there's a thing out there called netiquette, and it's basically network etiquette, or the etiquette of cyberspace, if that's a better way to say it. And etiquette is kind of the way that we do things or behave, or rules for behaving properly online. Now, an author out there by the name of Virginia Shea has defined the issues and discussed them at length in one of her books. It's pretty cool. It's called Netiquette. And you can view a summary of her core rules of netiquette at the following link on a website that I have right here if you so desire. Now, they're not going to answer all your questions, but they are going to provide some basic principles to be used in solving a lot of dilemmas online when it comes to discussion boards. Now, the reason I post this is because discussion boards are meant to be thoughtful. A lot of the topics are going to be controversial. And because of that, we need to understand that everybody's a little bit different and we all have our different opinions. And what I'm asking you to do is be understanding of everybody's opinion and know that that's how we learn. We don't learn generally through our own knowledge. We learn by listening to other viewpoints and reading and hearing and understanding different viewpoints. And if we were all the same, it would be super boring if we all agreed. So that's part of what a discussion board is. And what I'm asking at the end of the day here is that we're all professional and that we all understand that we are different, and therefore we might have some differences of opinion on these controversial topics. And I'm asking you to be respectful. Enough of that. Some websites I have available for you for information. I have the lawcornell.edu for case laws. The Supreme Court website talks a little bit about the Supreme Court and its functions. And then, of course, the California Penal Code site that I gave to you earlier. So now let's talk about the real cool stuff, at least cool for me, maybe not for you, but exams and quizzes. The quiz and exam questions are going to come from the textbook, the lecture PowerPoints, the audio lecture, the key terms, the designated articles or videos. And each week, you are going to have a reading assignment, a lecture PowerPoint, and a short 10-question quiz covering the chapter that we're in. So there are basically 15 chapters that we're going to cover. Now, in addition to that, there's going to be 3 chapter exams. They're 50 questions apiece. 4 discussion boards. The first one is the check-in, and 1 midterm writing assignment. So those are all of your assignments, your graded assignments. And that doesn't include the extra credit. A little bit more on the discussion boards because it really does merit some conversation. Again, these are typically reflective. Therefore, they're meant to make you think about a subject and maybe even think enough to research it a little bit. And maybe even to consider other perspectives. And then after you do all of that is when you would provide your response. So we know that there's a total of 4. The first is the check-in, which isn't really as lengthy as the other 3. And each discussion board is worth up to 5 points. Now, when responding to the discussion boards, make sure you read the information or watch the corresponding video and respond with what I say is a complete, well thought out response. So if you want 5 points, if you want full credit for your response, it needs to be 5 sentences in length. Don't just type in there, I agree, or me too, or yeah, that sounds good, or I agree with Joe, or whatever. Now, you can do that if you're responding to another person's post. Sure, you can say, I agree, or I disagree, or what have you. But if this is your initial post, it needs to be focused and thought out, and it needs to be 5 sentences if you want full credit. Along with that, don't just copy a response from somebody else's post. The more focused and thought out the response, the more points you're going to get. So, tell me what you think in 5 sentences. That's all I'm asking for. Again, feel free to respond or comment on another person's post, be professional, etc. But this is how we get the discussion going. This is what's really important about learning through discussion boards. So along with that, some important things to understand and some helpful hints. All lectures, the PowerPoints, the quizzes, the exams, the discussion info, any other assignments are going to be posted and available on Wednesday nights at 5 p.m. and they'll be due the following Tuesday at 11 p.m. The only thing that's outside of those boundaries is what? It's your midterm essay. Remember, that opens on the first day of class, and then it'll be due sometime during the middle of the semester, and that's in your syllabus. So here's an example. Week 2, we're right here. Week 2 is going to open on Wednesday, August 14th at 5 p.m. That means that you'll have until the following Tuesday, or August 20th, at 11 p.m. to complete everything in the Week 2 module. Does that make sense? Again, all quizzes, exams, discussion boards, or any other assignments for the week must be posted in Canvas or completed by the following Tuesday night at 11 p.m. As a general rule, because of the fact you have 6 days, there are not going to be any makeup assignments. You have 6 days to complete each of the weekly assignments. Therefore, it's up to you to get the work done. Now, I know there's life. There's kids, there's families, there's spouses, there's work, there's school, there's stuff. I know that. So emergencies is how I'm going to call them, or what I'm going to call them. Those will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Jury duty, military deployment, verified emergency or verified medical emergencies. Those are things that we'll be able to kind of work through. But don't just wait, until the last second, till Tuesday night at 10, and then you can't finish it because you run out of time or something else happens, and then you want to say, hey, there was some kind of an emergency. My response back to you is going to be, what did you do the other 5.5 days? Because when I show you this, when you visually see it, there's really not that much work that goes in. You just have to stay on track with your due dates. So, with all that said, keep in mind, it is your responsibility to make time for completing the assignments. Please, please, please do not wait until the last minute. While I will do my best, and I will, to remind you of due dates and other information, ultimately, it's your responsibility to know when these dates are and to plan accordingly. I've also given you some helpful hints. There are basically three main issues I see with online students, and here we are right here, who experience problems. The first is the inability to track or keep track of due dates. You need to use the calendar. Use your calendar in your phone, whatever you need to do. And you need to be able to self-pace and regulate, meaning keeping close track of assignment due dates and not waiting until the last minute to do your assignments. Second, thinking that because there are so many assignments, missing a few won't matter. Well, it really does. Yeah, there's 15 quizzes, there's 4 discussion boards, there's 3 things, there's 3 chapter exams, there's a written assignment, there's all this stuff. So you know what, if I miss 2 or 3, it's no big deal. Well, if you miss 3 quizzes, that's 30 points. Even though we do have some extra credit, where are you going to make up those points at? So make sure you're setting time aside to get those assignments done. And then finally, set up your electronic device to receive notifications or important announcements once they're sent out or posted. Also, just kind of note, on the weeks that you have a chapter exam, you're still going to be required to complete a quiz. Remember, there's a quiz every week. The quiz is kind of like the introduction to the chapter information. So, and it's to ensure that you've been exposed to the content from each chapter. Now, it's also going to help you prepare for the chapter exam. So on those times, and there's not many, but on those few times you have a quiz and a chapter exam, do the quiz first and then do the chapter exams. If you study for the quizzes and you do well on the quizzes, you are going to do well on the chapter exams. So how do we grade all this? So here's the grading scale, if you will. Okay, and I grade on points, on a point scale based on a percentage, but it's points, and you'll see the points kind of outlined when you get to the grade book. Here's the graded assignments that we're going to have. So we'll go through them real quick. So you have Chapter 1 exam, Chapter 2 exam, Chapter 3 exam. This is your final. So you have 3 chapter exams for 150 points. You have a midterm paper for 30 points, syllabus review for 10 points, 4 discussion boards at 5 points apiece for 20, 15 quizzes for 150 points. So your total possible points are 360. That does not include extra credit. Keep in mind that the point total is subject to change. I do have the flexibility to add something, remove something, or increase the questions, whatever. Typically I don't, but I just want you to know that that's out there. One good thing is that your final is not going to be cumulative, meaning that it's only going to cover the chapters that were assigned. So in your final exam, you're not going to have questions from chapter exam 1 and 2. Just the 4 or 5 or the 5 chapters that we covered previously. Does that make sense? So it's not cumulative. And then of course, as stated before, there's going to be extra credit. It's going to be an article or a video review. It's up to 15 points credit. You're going to have to work. It's not a gimme. The better the assignment is done, of course, the more points that you're going to get. So it's like a regular assignment. Here are some important dates for you to remember. I will let you look at those at your leisure. Moving on, I do provide the content in a bunch of different formats. So for example, the PowerPoint I post in PowerPoint. I also make a PDF of the PowerPoint. I also have a video version of the PowerPoint, and then I have a closed caption audio version of the PowerPoint. So all these different formats are there for you, but if there's something that you need that I can do for you to help you be successful, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to do that. Next is the written assessment. So you're going to have a written paper, and there's in your Canvas will be what we call a rubric that will be there, and this basically is to provide you how the papers are going to be graded. And again, it'll be posted in Canvas, and the case that you're going to be writing on is going to be the Florida versus Harris case. And what I've done here is I've kind of given you some instructions. It's a 3-page brief on this particular case. Here are the questions that I want you to follow. What's the issue of the case? What are the facts of the case? What's the finding or the holding of the court? Meaning, what did they decide? The rationale for their decision. Why did they decide that way? Are there other cases that are similar that are referenced in this court decision? And then your opinion. And here's basically the directions. Your paper needs to be at least have 2 references, no makeups if you don't turn it in. The paper is going to be 3 pages in length, double spaced, 12-point font, with a cover sheet, abstract, and a reference page. Please, again, Microsoft Word. The cover sheet, the reference page, and the abstract, they don't count in the page total. I need 3 pages of text. The paper must follow APA format, and it'll be graded on content, spelling, and grammar, organization, and completeness. Now, to help you out, I'm going to post on Canvas in your Canvas shell in the midterm essay module, okay, an instructional video on how to complete your paper in APA. And this is going to include examples on formatting, the cover page, the abstract, and the reference page, along with a step-by-step instruction on how to cite and format your references. So I'm going to walk you through the entire thing, and I'll even show you little clips of what a paper looks like, so you'll understand the formatting and how it's supposed to look. So all of that information, again, can be found in the midterm essay module. If you need additional help above and beyond that, as far as writing the paper, you can go to the library where there are handouts on APA. Each library, there's a writing center where they can help you as well. And I am going to include information on how to upload your essay into Canvas. So with that being said, since we're talking about the essay, just a quick note on plagiarism. Everybody pretty well knows what plagiarism is. So copying even a part of a sentence from a text, an article, a news story, a paper, without acknowledging the source is basically plagiarism, or using quotes from something else and not citing that properly, that's going to be plagiarism. Even copying and changing, a couple of words around is still plagiarism. If you need additional information on this, I have a website, plagiarism.com, which gives you some more information. And I also have a series of 6 different rules of thumb for you to follow. And I'm not going to walk through each one of those. I will let you read those on your own time. But again, plagiarism is important to avoid that. Just understand that I will have that audio lecture, the video lecture on APA formatting and how to write your paper. It's really important that you go there and you take a look at that. So what does the course actually look like? So if you remember, I talked about the course is going to be set up in weeks or modules. Modules are weeks, weeks are modules. And I label the modules by week. Week 1, we know it's going to be a little bit short. Don't panic. I'm going to try to open it early on August 7th. If I can't, when is it going to open? It's going to open on Monday the 12th at 8 in the morning, which means you'll have until 11 p.m. on Tuesday the 13th to get these things done. The discussion board assignment, which is the check-in, that's all it is, and the syllabus review quiz. So those 2 things. But look at chapter 2. It's the same thing. It's going to open on the 14th. It'll close on the 20th. We're going to cover chapter 1. You're going to have in these modules, and you'll see it in just a minute, you'll have the introduction to the chapter. You'll have the PowerPoint in various formats, including the audio. You'll have key terms. You'll have videos and articles and everything you need inside there. And then you'll have the weekly quiz that covers the chapter. That's it for week 2. Week 3, very similar. Week 4, very similar. Week 5, you have an extra graded assignment. Look here. So it opens on September 4th, closes on September 10th. We're going to cover chapter 4. You'll have all the lecture and material and stuff. You'll have your weekly quiz, and then you'll have discussion board 2. That's in the module, again, so you don't have to click around. You'll see it inside there. Go one more down to week 6. You see it opens on the 11th. It closes on the 17th. So the main chapter is going to be chapter 5. You'll have all the PowerPoint lecture stuff, and then you'll have your quiz, and then you'll have your first chapter exam that's going to cover the 5 previous chapters, which is why here you want to do the quiz first. You go down a little bit further, it's going to tell you when your midterm writing assignment is due. For this particular course, it's due the week of. You can turn it at any time before, but the deadline is going to be the last day. It'll be due the week of October 23rd through 29th. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Now what I want to do is very quickly, I want to take you into the Canvas shell. So let me get this over here so you can see the navigation pane on this side right here. So this is what the home page might look like. Actually, it might probably look like this. My view might be a little different than yours because I'm in teacher view and you're going to be in student view, but this is what the home page will look like. Get to the bottom. This link right here takes you to an area that's really important. It's called helpful or important information, but we'll look at the modules in just a second. Discussions. This is where all the discussions are at. Now they're in your weekly modules, but if you want to go here, you can access them through here as well. So here's the general discussion board that I talked about where you can just post questions. And then here's the rest of the discussions. Here's your first one, which is the check-in. You have your grade book, files, syllabus. If you want to look at the syllabus again or listen to the audio lecture again, this is where you can find it. Here's the syllabus in a PDF doc. Here's the syllabus audio. Here's the syllabus audio closed caption. So different formats that you can see things. And then if you go to modules where most of your information is going to be added, again, my view might be a little different than yours, but it's the same content. Online counseling, should you need it. This is a link to the home page. This is more information on the Criminal Justice Club. Here are some links to some cool websites like First 48 Hours or Forensic Files or Homicide Hunter if you're into shows like that, which I think are pretty cool. Next, I have links to videos on the Bill of Rights. So we have the history of the Bill of Rights. We have the First through the 10th Amendment, which are very, very important for you to understand, then Article 3 of the Constitution. So all of these are in here for you to look at. They're at your leisure, but they're really cool videos, and I think you would enjoy them. Next, I have some important Supreme Court cases. There's a lot of important Supreme Court cases out there, but these are two that are highly important for this particular course. Next module is important information. And this is the please read area that I told you before. If you click on that, it'll take you to some more information that will help you be successful in this class. I have the 2019-2020 academic calendar, how to use Canvas, some information on the book publisher. Remember the midterm essay has its own module. Well, here it is. So here's your midterm essay assignment. The audio version of how to write APA, how to do your essay. So this is the audio version. Here's the audio version that's closed captioned. Here is just the PowerPoint slides of these two. So if you don't want to hear me talk, you can look at this. Here's an example of a paper. Here's the writing rubric. And here's a link on how to upload your written assignment. So I clicked on that and it gives you a step-by-step and a couple of screenshots on how to upload your paper. So let me go back to modules really quick so I can finish up and show you how the modules actually look. So we know how they look in the syllabus, but if you go to week 1, which is the week we're in right now, again, your view might be a little bit different, but there's the same content. Week 1 is module 1. This is the introduction that'll tell you about what's happening in this particular week. Here's the audio version of the syllabus review, which is what I'm doing right now. That's what you're listening to. Here's the closed caption version. Here is the discussion board check-in. Here is the syllabus review quiz. And then here at your leisure, there's some videos on the different court systems. And I think it's really important that you understand the different ones. There's about 4 or 5 videos. So at your leisure, please take the time to look at those. But this is the week 1 module. And here are your 2 graded assignments. Week 2, you can see how it looks. There's an introduction to chapter 1 because that's the chapter we're going to start. Here's some key terms for the chapter for you to study with. This is the PowerPoint lecture in PowerPoint format, the PowerPoint lecture in PDF format, the audio version of the chapter 1 PowerPoint, and the audio version of the chapter 1 PowerPoint closed caption. And then here is the quiz. So everything you need for week 2 is here. You don't have to go anywhere else to find it. Week 3 is the same. Week 4 is the same. Now week 5, remember, we're going to have another assignment. So you have the introduction to the chapter, the key terms to study, the PowerPoint, the PDF version of the PowerPoint, the audio version of the lecture, the audio closed caption of the lecture, discussion board number 2, and your chapter quiz. It's all in the same folder or module. Week 6, remember we talked about the fact you might have a quiz and a chapter exam. So the same stuff before it. Here's the chapter 5 quiz, and here's your first chapter exam. So I hope this helped you going through and looking at the format, and take some time when you can to navigate around through the Canvas shell so you can find different things and have a good understanding on where stuff is at. So what I'd like to leave you with is I'm doing a lot of the recording for this particular course during the summer. So this is what I am doing a lot of time during my summer. And I thought I would leave you with that. I hope your summer has gone well, and or if you're just logging on now and it's almost the semester starting time, I hope your summer was good. But that is the end of our lecture. That was the syllabus review lecture. I'm going to leave you with some of my favorite things that I like to do, and this is what I did during my summer. And until next time.